All right, welcome back to One Man's Faith. We're looking at the series, The Spirit of Faith. And let's look at an example, a couple of examples, okay? Hopefully a couple. I know we'll get through one. I don't know if we'll get to the second one or not. May have to take it up next week. But in Numbers 13, God said, okay, Moses, I want you to send out 12 spies into the land and let them look and see and bring back a report about what is really out here. I mean, Moses, I don't want you to think that I'm just sending you out into the wilderness. I want you to see that the land I have for you, and let the people see so that it will excite them to want to go and take it. And so they sent out spies, and they were gone for 40 days. And it says that when they returned from spying out the land, this is in Numbers 13, verse 25, at the end of 40 days, they proceeded to come to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation of the sons of Israel in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh, and they brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. Thus they told them and said, we went into the land where you sent us, and it certainly does flow with milk and honey. And this is its fruit. Nevertheless, but the people who live in the land are strong, and the cities are fortified and very large. And moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there, which are the giants. And Amalekah is living in the land of the Negev, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites and the Termites and all these others are living in the hill country, and the Canaanites are living by the sea. And then Caleb quieted the people. Why did he have to quiet the people? Because they got into an uproar. Oh, this bad report. Oh, where you take us, Moses, take us back to Egypt. This type, that type thing. And Moses says, we should by all means go up and take possession of it, for we will surely overcome. But the men who had gone up said to him, we're not able to go up against the people, for they are too strong for us. You see, these 10 didn't get it. God said, I've given you this land. What are you going to do? Sit on your haunches and wait for all the Canaanites and Amorites and all those ites to die off? No. Caleb says, hey, we need to go and take it right now. He was working through a spirit of faith there. And if we go down into Numbers 14, God says, surely all the men who have seen my glory and my signs which I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, yet have put me to the test these 10 times and have not listened to my voice, shall by no means see the land which I swore to their fathers, nor shall any of those who spurned me see it. He's saying, listen, if you can't believe me, you're not going to have a part of it. Didn't I tell you we would do these things? What, am I chopped liver? Don't you understand that if I've said it, it's going to happen? Look at all that I have done for you in coming through the wilderness. I have provided you daily bread. I have provided you daily water. I have provided you meat once a week. I have had this cloud that covers you to keep you from being under the sun. And I give you a fire by night to bring some warmth and to keep the enemy away and the beast and all. Come on. Did I not part the sea for you? And yet here they are. They've gone and they've seen the land. And they come back and they say, hey, they're too great for us. See, has God ever given you something to do and you tell somebody about it and they say, wow, you got to do this, gosh, in my mind, this is impossible. See, it's the same type of thing that is happening right here. Did God tell you? I've told several people, God has given them a vision, or said, I had one couple that wanted to go into the ministry, the mission field. And I said, okay, that's great. I'm behind you 100%. But you sit down and you make sure God said. Because I said there's going to come opposition in times where if you don't know God said, you will quit. So you make sure that God has said, and if God has said, then you had better do it. I want to tell you the same thing. God has placed a desire within you that he wants accomplished. All right, what has God said? Know that he has said it, and then walk in it. Because as long as you know he said it, he won't fail you. Sure, there may be some opposition and things that come against you, but they don't matter. They don't matter. Opposition will come, but opposition shouldn't define what you do. Believe in God and let him carry you through. Believe in God and let him carry you through. Just as Caleb saw what God wanted to accomplish. And Caleb said, hey, wow, we're going to see God move. You see, if it doesn't look impossible, then you won't rely on God. And if you don't rely on God, then you're going to go by sight and not by faith. It's got to look impossible. It's got to appear impossible. Because when it does, you're at your weakest, and God will make you strong to overcome it. God has given us a mission. He's told us to do something. And we're going to do it. And I can tell you right now, it looks impossible. But it's not. Because God has said, do it. And we're going on with it. Because he has told us to. And he will get the glory. That's the position that we will be in a lot. We call it the Gideon Project. And it's something that's too big for us. But it's not too big for God. And God's going to accomplish it. I know that. I know that. So all I want to do is proclaim it to you right now. That God is going to accomplish it. It doesn't matter what people think. It doesn't matter whether they believe we can do it or not. God said we will do it. And so just as Caleb is looking out and seeing, wow, the Anaks, these big cities, all this stuff, yeah, it's there, but look at what God's going to give us, all this. Look, it took 2 people to carry a cluster of grapes. God said we would have it. We will have it. They brought a bad report. God says this. He says, yet in verse 23 of Numbers 14, yet shall by no means see the land which I swore to their fathers, nor shall any of these that spurn me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit and has followed me fully, I will bring into the land which he entered, and his descendants shall take possession of it. Because he has a different spirit, a spirit of faith, than the rest of those men had. Caleb and Joshua walked by faith. They believed God. A bad report was brought by the 10, not seeing that the Lord was good, but that the giants were big. not understanding that if God is for us, who can be against us? They bring what they considered, hey, it's real. I saw these things. We can't do it. And it's a lie. If God has shown you something, then he'll be behind you. Many years ago, when I was in Virginia, I had the impression that God wanted to start something for the young people. I called it a Christian coffee house. And he impressed upon me to find something, a building, and do it. And I went to my associate pastor and I said, this is what God has shown me, and this is what I believe he wants to do. And my associate pastor sat there and he gave me 10 reasons why it couldn't happen. And I believed him. And so I didn't. I actually went to a building and claimed it. I said, I claim this building in the name of Jesus. You know, that building never had a permanent resident in it after that. Barely any of them lasted more than 6 months. When I was last there, it was a Vineyard Fellowship Church. So it became something. When we moved from there about 150 miles south to start a ministry center, the first thing we started was a Christian coffee house. And God raised it up. The man gave us the building because he saw what we put into it. We had nothing, and in a year's time, we rebuilt it basically, except for the outside, and put over $50,000 into it. And it became, for 8 years, a center, a place for the kids to come, even families to come. First time I listened to man. The second time I wouldn't do it. I got to take a break. Okay, this is our last one. Get a cup of coffee. I'll be right back.